Okay, I'm going to explain the facts of the case of Silverstone Marketing Sdn and that leads to the court decision. But I'm not so sure whether you understand the facts. So let me just explain to you what does it mean by the case. Now, plaintiff executing creditor. It is not like when we talk about executing creditor, we talk about somebody who actually has won the first instance of the case. Now, let's say a plaintiff here, okay, sue the defendant. Okay, they sue in the High Court for a certain amount of money. Okay, certain amount. Say the total amount owing, 50,000 or 150,000. Okay, now, okay, when the case started at High Court, we call it court of first instance. The first time where the case is being filed to. So of course, when P sue the defendant, there'll be proceedings going on. Proceeding one after another, and then after that there'll be trial. Okay, and then there'll be submission after that. Submission by the submission by the counsel. So during the trial there'll be questioning of witnesses. Okay, questioning of witnesses, and then after that, once both parties have submitted, the court will give judgment. Okay, the court will give judgment. Now, when we talk about judgment, assuming in this case plaintiff wins, okay, and then defendant lose. Okay, so when plaintiff wins and defendant lose, meaning to say defendant had to pay plaintiff 150,000. Okay, normally defendant is being given like 14 days to pay. 14 days to pay. Now, assuming in this case defendant failed to pay, okay, fail to pay plaintiff, what can the plaintiff do? The plaintiff can execute the judgment. Execute the judgment. Okay. When plaintiff can execute the judgment, meaning to say he can take further action to claim the amount owing. To claim the amount owing. Okay. So at this stage, P is called an executor. Because defendant owed him, so he is also a creditor still. So, executing creditor. Okay, that is the first part. Now, in this Silverstone Marketing, it doesn't mention, if you look at the facts, it doesn't mention what sort of modes being taken here to execute the judgment. But based on the facts, there's some bailiff involved, so it is more of writ of seizure, okay, and sale. Writ of seizure and sale is where the court bailiff will seize the property of the defendant, and from the property they're going to sell those property to pay the plaintiff for the amount owing. So let's say to pay the amount owing, which is 150,000. Okay. Now, plaintiff in this case, if you read the facts, he conducted execution over defendant's movable property. Okay. At defendant's premises, and subsequently court bailiff had seized all the movable property. So when plaintiff issued writs, again defendant, okay, and of course normally court plaintiff will get court order. Will get court order to seize all the property, and then the court bailiff will actually, or court bailiff is the one who goes to defendant's premises. Okay, defendant's premises. Okay, dependent premise. Okay, let me just write it properly. Defendant's premise, and seize all, and seize all movable property. Okay, when they seize the movable property, now in this property, I'm sure, let's say this is the property belongs to ni. This is, I'm sure there's somewhere here, somewhere there. Okay, let's say there's about 9 things here. Okay, assuming this particular one, okay, this particular property, okay, this particular property belongs to, in this case, Pacific Bank. Okay, now Pacific Bank filed a notice claiming that the title to the item concerned vested in them as the holder of a debenture signed by defendant for their benefit. So basically, plaintiff bank is a debenture holder for this particular property. Okay, for this particular property. Okay, right? And then if you read further, they said that they have actually rights over the property. So plaintiff dispute the claimant here is the Pacific Bank, and then they dispute the claimant's claim, and plaintiff issued this as interpleader summon. So court bailiff bring case to the court under this is what we call interpleader summon. They interpleader summon for the court to ascertain who does the property belongs to. So the issue in this case is whether P, as the executing creditor or claimant here, which is the Pacific Bank, claimant, okay, claimant here, the debenture holder had priority. So who has priority over this particular the green thing here? Okay, the claimant rely on debenture clauses which provided that all of defendant's good kept in this premise had been charged to the claimant by floating charge. He says all. Okay, assuming just one here. Okay, and then the moment somebody wanted to take the property, okay, meaning some event happened, so basically the floating charge becomes a fixed charge. So he claimed, defendant, the claimant, which is the Pacific Bank, claim that the floating charge will automatically become a fixed charge because a third party, who is the plaintiff, okay, attempted to seize the defendant's good, okay, without notice. It has become automatic because of the debenture document. Now, court allowed the claim. They allow the claim by the Pacific Bank. Okay, there are two types of crystallization. One which does not require active measure, which is automatic, and two, the one which requires affirmative action. Okay, in this case, claimant did not need to take any steps to enforce the charge. Okay, an event occurred in this case, which is the execution, which is the whole process of executing the particular writ of seizure and sale, to execute the defendant's rights. So basically, that particular event, which is the execution, the floating charge automatically becomes a fixed charge. Okay, therefore, it was ordered that the goods seized by the plaintiff from the defendant to be returned to the claimant. So this particular thing will be returned to the plaintiff. Okay, so sorry, to Pacific Bank. Okay. Okay, so if all of this belongs to the Pacific banks, if all of the supplies belongs to the Pacific Bank, so all goes to the Pacific Bank because they have rights over the property, and because of this particular floating charge, and it's automatic crystallization. So therefore, the court ordered that the goods seized by the bailiff to be returned to the Pacific Bank with cost. So that is what it meant by uh, that particular case. So I hope you clear on this case. Okay, we go back to our where is it just now? Nice. Okay, we go back to our PowerPoint.